I might have a dog coming after me. Yep.
Izzy, stop. Izzy, come here. Come here.
Do you need me to stop? I might need to speed up. It is week 10 of the Sub-3 in Philly marathon training block. Today's run is a scheduled 24-mile long run. It'll actually be the longest that I run in this training block. I'll do that 24-mile run twice prior to actually running the marathon in November. And since I have so much time on my hands with this 24-mile run, I figured I'd answer some common questions that I get about my running as well as my sub-3 hour training plan for the Philadelphia Marathon. So let's get to it. So one thing I do want to do real quick prior to answering some questions about my running and my training is just pay one final tribute to my dad. He passed away in December of 2021 and we finally laid him to rest this past Friday on the 6th of October. And I just want to say that it was an honor to know him for the years that I did, and I'm proud to call him my dad. So he will definitely be missed, and even though it's still already been almost 2 years since he's passed, it's still something that weighs extremely heavy on my heart and saddens me greatly, but such is life, and all I can do now is just continue to try and honor him in the way that I'm present in my daily life with friends, family, my own family, my wife and kids, and hopefully be a similar father that he was in terms of how I show up for my kids every single day. So love you, Dad, and see you on the other side. Just hit mile 1, 8 minutes, 24 second minute mile split. Current heart rate, 143. Just hit mile 2, 8:26 minute mile split. Current heart rate, 153. So the first common question I get is, what marathon training plan or app am I using for this sub-3 hour training block or the 16-week training block? I use the app called Final Surge, and I purchased a plan from Coach Greg McMillan through that app. I've purchased other plans in the past from Luke Humphrey, who does Hanson's Marathon Method. There's quite a few different coaches that offer plans on Final Surge, which is really nice. The main reason I did McMillan's plan this time around was I just liked the idea of time-based running. So no matter how I'm feeling on any which day I'm running, most of my runs will only be a specific time, so I don't have to worry about how fast or how slow I am. I'm gonna get the run done in whatever that allotted time is for the day, which is really nice considering I have 2 kids, one being 7 months old, and a full-time job. It was nice just knowing, hey, I'm only gonna run 60, 70, 80, 90 minutes today. So if I'm feeling slow, doesn't matter, the run's done when the time is done. So that's the main reason I chose it. To be honest, almost any marathon training plan is gonna be good and will help you finish the race. The main thing is being consistent with whatever marathon training plan you choose. Just hit mile 3, 8:20 minute mile split. Current heart rate is 143. Just hit mile 4, 8:19 minute mile split. Current heart rate is 149. So another question I get often, is my max heart rate really 210 or 210? And the simple answer is no. My max heart rate is definitely not 210. That was triggered by my watch a long time ago. And honestly, since I never trained by heart rate, I never really cared. And then more recently, with focusing on heart rate or zone 2 training for my easy runs, I kind of just always made sure that my zone 2 that I actually ran, not set by my watch, was always somewhere in between those 2 numbers. So again, my max heart rate really didn't matter. And primarily that's because unless I go into a lab and get a true zone 2 or VO2 max test, I'll never really know. And so that max heart rate percentage number is almost arbitrary. My zone 2 is really more of just guide rails of where I kind of want to keep my heart rate when it comes to my easy runs, somewhere lower then that high end of 147, 148, and maybe a little above that, like 125 to 130. Just hit mile 5, 8:20 minute mile average or split, and current heart rate is 156. Just hit mile 6, 8:10 minute mile split, current heart rate 145. Another common question I get is, what if I miss my sub 3 hour goal for a 4th time when running Philly? And to be honest, I've said this before and I'll continue saying it. It's never really about the goal. The sub 3 hour goal, or any goal I set for myself in running, is really just a target to help keep me motivated and create some type of structure for my running and workouts. Now, I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't be a little disappointed if I missed my sub 3 hour goal in Philly after all this time and effort I've put in to this training. Yeah, it would be a bummer to miss my goal, but I don't look at running as strictly being only about goals that need to be set and achieved. If all I ever do is focus on goals in running and in life, then I'm gonna miss a lot along the way in the journey towards pursuing that goal. So yeah, I wanna hit my 3 hour goal. If I miss it, my secondary goal, which will always be my primary goal, is just to finish the race with a smile on my face and help encourage others along the way. Mile 7, 8:07 minute mile split, current heart rate 147. Just hit mile 8, 8 minutes 12 second minute mile split, current heart rate 159. So the next question I get is, why do I not run with water, specifically my long runs? And honestly, I just never have, and I've never found an issue with needing water on my long runs. Now, I will say that on certain days where it's extremely hot, I will bring water just to ensure I'm staying hydrated and staying safe. But for most of my runs, like I said, I've just never needed water. And I will also say that I take an energy gel called UCAN, so GenUCAN, I think it's their like Edge gel or energy, I don't know what it's actually called, like the branding, but that is specifically made to not be used or taken with water. So most gels need to be taken with water when you're actually taking the gels. And no, I almost said Morton. UCAN does not need that, which also does help in the benefit of not needing water for long runs. I will also say that when I first started running and I did my first 20 miler or first few 20 milers training for my first marathon, so just a year after I started running, I did run with water. I used to have like a Saucony hydration vest that I would wear, and that was huge. But the longer, I might have a dog coming after me. Yep.
Izzy, stop. Izzy, come here. Come here.
Do you need me to stop? I might need to speed up. That was happening. This is a lot of fun. Oh my God, this is gonna ruin my whole run. Okay, back to what I was saying. Yes, I do not bring water on my long runs, and hopefully that did not just screw with the rest of my long run, because I'm pretty beat. Just hit mile 9, 7 minutes 48 second minute mile split. Current heart rate is 137. Just hit mile 10, 8:11 minute mile split. Current heart rate is 137. So another common question I've got, which pertains to Philly specifically, is have I been training hills? Because Philly is not flat. And so luckily I have been training hills for two reasons. One, I did check the elevation chart or map for Philly for the past few years and saw that there were some hills in the middle of the Philly Marathon. Nothing crazy, but it is definitely not a flat race. And then secondly, the course I'm actually running right now, or the segment, whatever you want to call it, I'm running right now, is pretty much the route that I run for every single one of my long runs, which has a ton of hills and will easily get me over 1,000 feet of elevation gain for the total 24 miles. Just hit mile 11, 8 minutes, 11 second minute mile split. Current heart rate is 140. Just hit mile 12, 8 minutes, 11 second minute mile split at the turnaround point, which feels great. Current heart rate is 137. Another question I commonly get is, do I listen to music and or podcasts when running, especially for these long runs? And the answer is no. I used to listen to music or podcasts when running, but because of incidents like that dog chasing me on this run and almost getting hit by cars, as well as other incidents with dogs, I just stopped doing that altogether because it's just safer to make sure I can hear everything that's going on in my surroundings so that I don't have a dog come randomly surprise attack me. Just hit mile 13, 7 minutes, 58 second minute mile split. Current heart rate is 145. Just hit mile 14, 801 minute mile split. Current heart rate 137. Next question is, why do I not run more shorter races? So 1 mile, 5K, 10K. And that's honestly because I haven't been running that long, and for the longest time I always thought shorter races would take away from my marathon training. So I've been running for a little over 3 years and I didn't race at all for about a year, almost a year and a half. And then my first race ever was the Detroit Free Press Full Marathon in 2021. And to be honest, like I said, my biggest fear was always that if I added 5Ks or 10Ks into the training block or somewhere in that training mix, that I was basically going to detract from my overall racing. I didn't know if my body could handle it, and so I just kind of avoided them altogether. This year I did do those 3 5Ks throughout the summer, kind of in the lull between Grandma's Marathon and the Philly Marathon training block start. And I do plan on in the future adding a lot more shorter races in hopes that they will help me become a better runner at multiple distances or disciplines and not just solely focusing on the marathon. Plus, it'll be nicer to do some shorter runs and not be doing these 24 milers and big long runs every single weekend. Just hit mile 15, 7:57 minute mile split. Current heart rate 148. Just hit mile 16, 8 minutes, 5 second minute mile split. Current heart rate 153. So the next question I get quite often, which I'm sorry these questions are all over the place. I don't have any way to like remember the list other than trying to recall them as I'm running. But the next question is, why do I train by heart rate? And the primary reason I started focusing on zone 2 training specific to my easy runs was really to just help me slow down as a runner. Like I said, I'm still relatively new to running, and I found that in a lot of my previous marathon training blocks, I would show up to race day a little overtrained or just overcooked, primarily because I'd be running my easy runs way faster than I probably should have. And then I'd also be doing these big workouts and big long runs and basically just compounding the fatigue to, like I said, where I show up to race day just overcooked and not really ready to give it my best or give it my all. And so zone 2 training or focusing on heart rate is just another metric to help me slow down and really focus on doing the easy runs easy. Just hit mile 17, 8 minutes even. Current heart rate is 141. Just hit mile 18, 7:56 minute mile split. Current heart rate is 150. Another common question I get is, do I do any type of strength training along with my running? The answer is yes. I work out 5 days a week. I do a push, pull, leg split, which means I do 2 times a week, push movements and pull movements, all calisthenics, so relative strength, do like push-ups, pull-ups, things like that. And then the leg day, I only work out once a week because I'm already putting in so many miles with my running. There's no need to really do more than 1 day of strength training with the legs. Just hit mile 19, 7:48 minute mile split. Current heart rate, 139. Just hit mile 20, 8 minutes, 8-second minute mile split. Current heart rate, 150. The second to last question is, how did I get into running? Or another way I commonly see this question asked is, how did I get started with running, especially with no running background? And honestly, I just wanted to stop making excuses for myself when it came to doing some type of physical exercise. I usually start something, be really motivated, and then stop shortly after and have some excuse as to why I couldn't do it anymore. And so one day I saw a post on Instagram about someone doing a run streak and thought, oh, that's cool, I should start that. And so I basically just committed to a run streak. I posted it online to try and help keep me accountable. And honestly, I just put one foot in front of the other. I literally knew nothing about running other than that I owned a pair of running shoes that I wore casually. So I started wearing those as my running shoes. And the more I did it, the more I started to enjoy it. The one thing I tell anybody who's getting into running is, don't worry about racing. Don't worry about pace. Don't worry about how far you're running, how fast you're running, any of that. Just literally put one foot in front of the other and just start. Just hit mile 21, 8:03 minute mile split. Current heart rate is 150. Just hit mile 22, 7:58 minute mile split. 159 heart rate. So the final question is, how do I stay motivated? And honestly, it's extremely cliche, but my family is what keeps me motivated to continue running. When I look back at the last 3 years of my life and how much I've improved both mentally and physically, I realize that all this time and effort I'm putting in to doing these races can help me to hopefully spend more years with my family as a healthy, kind of maturing adult. I don't know what you want to call it, as I age, basically. And now, do I need marathons to stay active and healthy as I age? No, but where marathons come in and motivation comes in for that is I just want to challenge myself for as long as I possibly can to prove to myself what I think I'm capable of. And honestly, like I said about just starting with running, I just enjoy it. It's a fun process, and I enjoy getting to celebrate with others on race day, which again gets back to that whole thing about goals. Whether or not I hit my goal, I get to celebrate with a ton of other people who all have the same goal in mind of finishing a marathon and who have all put in the hours and the effort to get to that start line and across the finish line together. Just hit mile 23, 8 minutes, 2-second minute mile average. Heart rate is 149. Just finished the long run, did 24.01 miles. Took me 3 hours, 14 minutes, and 34 seconds with an 8:06 minute mile average. Feel really good after doing that run. Time to go relax and get ready for the Detroit Free Press International Half Marathon. That's a mouthful.